Welcome to the Black Diamond Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Will White. And today on the Black Diamond Podcast, we are going to be doing an episode on video reaction to the First Things Thirst podcast with the special guest, the FreshFit Podcast. So before I talk about that more, let's get into the episode. All right, guys, before we get into anything, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment on the video, get me up to 1,000 subscribers. That's the goal for this year. And yeah, hope you guys have been enjoying the content on my previous videos. You know, I've been putting a lot of work trying to get people together. If you guys have any questions or anything you want to ask me or ask people who have brought on the show, just send me an email or message me on Instagram. Yeah, check me out on Instagram as well, BlackDiamondPodcast. And yeah, so the video reaction we're doing today is the First Things Thirst podcast with Mike Thurston. It's cool guys, big in the fitness industry. And the special guest they had on for that episode was Myron Gaines and Walter from the Fresh and Fit Podcast. Now, I don't know, before I start, I know a lot of people have a lot of gripes with the Fresh and Fit Podcast. But one thing I can say about that podcast is that they've grown a lot from where they started. They've improved most definitely throughout this whole entire process from when they first started to where they are now. And they've built one of the most successful YouTube channels ever. So, yeah, shout outs to them. Perfect. They really did their thing on that podcast. So, we're gonna, as usual, self-improve, take some notes from what they did, and watch what they had to say on First Things Thirst podcast. So let's get into it.
Like you more than you like her. And the only way that happens is you're striving, you're being excellent, she's following your lead, you're happy. And then on top of that, you can replace her anytime. And I know it sounds evil for me to say it that way, but that's how you get the best out of women. Since the beginning of time, women have always been attracted to men that have social proof, that have other women, that have a strong circle of friends, etc. And that's the only way she's going to feel happy. Her hypergamy is satisfied because she's chasing you, so the doubt is gone, and she knows that she can be replaced. That's how you get a loyal and dutiful girlfriend.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the podcast. How you
Thanks
doing?
for having us, man.
Good, man. Good to be in Dubai.
It feels weird because out of the first few podcasts which I was listening to, yours was one of them.
Yeah.
I think back in 2021, that was when I first discovered you guys. Do you want to take a wild guess? And who was the first person which I listened to on your podcast?
Probably our homie Tate.
There you go.
Yo, for the top G. He's still locked up in the pen, but we're gonna get him out.
Yeah. First ever podcast that I heard him on.
Yeah. No,
you guys have definitely put people on the map for sure.
No, absolutely. I don't, Andrew's a good friend. So for me, we're just conversation, between some friends. So we're just chopping it up and, ended up being a really great interview. But, we agree with Andrew on about like 99%.
The thing is, he was always big. People just didn't know who he was yet.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Yeah. Because they had been famous in Romania for a very long time. It's just that, the Western world hadn't known too much yet because they were shadow banned. But no, man, I mean, for us, we're like, yo, when our homies do well, we're happy. So that's what it's about.
How long have you guys been doing the podcast for now?
We started in our first episode was October 26, 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then Andrew came, I think, that next year, because Andrew had done an interview with Fresh first, and then he came on our podcast around May of 2020.
Yeah, Fresh and Fit started around the COVID era, I believe. Well, yeah, around that time, because that's when I found out about them, was during COVID, and that's when they like really blew up. So
21, when he actually came to Miami, and yeah, it was epic. We went on the boat, we hung out.
The Miami Aikido.
Yeah, Miami Aikido. and then we came back to the studio. We did the podcast, and I'm real big on when you bring a guest in, let them talk. And I had already known his worldviews and stuff, and I was like, "Yo, you guys got to hear this guy." And it was probably one of the best interviews ever, and it was awesome. And Andrew and Tristan are very smart individuals, very, very smart. And we're happy that we played a minor role in their success. They were going to be successful no matter what. Those guys are brilliant in what they do and really smart. So it was just a matter of, if we can play a little bit of a role, awesome. But they were going to get it anyway.
Yeah. How old? Okay, so first of all, which one of you is fresh and which is fit?
Can you guess?
He's fit.
Yeah,
he's
somewhat.
fit.
Yeah, somewhat fit, right? Maybe, and then fresh.
You used to be a personal trainer.
Yeah,
Well,
so
you-
I do have an online fitness business too.
Mhm.
I haven't been pushing that as much. I do have a few clients, but in general, I've been working on the podcast mostly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, what I've discovered now, after starting this, I think I'm about 8 or 9 episodes in. This is like a full-time thing.
Yeah.
If you really want to, if you want to make it work, you have to devote quite a lot of time and
Yeah.
effort into it.
Yeah, because how it originally started was I was a federal agent with Homeland Security first, and then what ended up happening was I started a fitness business on the side, and to augment the fitness business, I was like, let me start a YouTube channel. So I started putting out some fitness content, and then I was like, man, this stuff isn't hitting as hard as it used to. I'm sure you're OG in the fitness game.
I was lucky when I got started with it, for sure.
So I remember like fitness YouTube was huge, like 2010 to like 2015 ish, and then it kind of started to fall off a bit. And then, I came in with the fitness stuff, and I was like, and then I noticed that, a lot of guys were struggling with girls. I was in Miami at the time, and I was like, I'm decent with the ladies. And then I realized that like a big reason why so many guys aren't able to get girls is because they're just not attractive. Like they're not in shape. They don't dress well.
Yo, that's a big fact. A lot of guys right now in today's society are just not attractive to most women. I don't know what it is. Well, we do know what it is. We're all pretty fucked up. We're all lazy. We don't want to put in the work to be successful, to be attractive. So you're speaking some facts right now.
Oh, they don't smell good. They don't have good personal care. They don't have their money on point. And these are all things that are like critical to get like the hottest girls. So we're like, damn, we got to help guys become better all around. So that's kind of what started the podcast. But I still do have my fitness business. Just that, I can't like put as much time into as I used to, because now you're seeing it now. Like running a fitness business while doing a podcast, if you really want to take off, it's like you got to pick one almost.
Yeah.
And then also it's workload. So for example, a lot of people start podcasts, right? They might do 1 or 2 a week. We used to do 7 days a week and 2 to 3 shows a day, like 2 to 3 hours. It's crazy, bro. We put in a lot of work.
Like back when we were first
when they hold on, when they first started, I remember they would do possibly 2 daytime shows sometimes, and then do after hours with the girls that went up to like 2 a.m. in the morning. So they were definitely going hard when they first started.
When we're filming back then with Andrew, we're doing like six shows a week. Like we're filming every day on pretty much.
Yeah.
And then and it's all live too. And then you'll bring out like these crazy ass chicks. So that always gets wild.
For a year and a half, no vacations, no fun time, just focusing on work podcast.
Yeah, for like I would say for like at least a year and a half, we were doing like quite a bit of volume.
Well, I think that's what you need to do really to get something up and running.
Agreed. Yeah.
Particularly now that podcasts are becoming more popular, you need to do something which is going to make it stand out.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it now, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like.
But I like what you guys do, because you I feel like you're doing something different when you're getting all these women involved. Like that's not really something you see very often.
Yeah.
Now everyone's copying the formula, but let's just say the pioneer started the wave,
Yeah, no, it's interesting because it kind of how it started was we went on a double date, and we drank a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. We don't drink like that, but we had a double date with these 2 girls. Fresh looks at me and he's like, "Yo, we should go live right now." Mind you, it's like 2 a.m. And I was
bro.
Like, what?
Some 2 girls was like, you know
He's
what?
Like, let's just do it.
Go live, bro.
Because we were having a good conversation with the girls, and we just said, let's just do it on air. And then it ended up like taking off. People really enjoyed it. So we just like, you know what? Let's scale this up. And then we just started bringing more and more girls on and just having discussions. And I realized like how many modern day women nowadays are fairly delusional about the male experience. So I kind of, was like, you know what? Let's have the
Big facts. Most women do not know what it is to live life like a man.
these podcasts where we kind of bring girls in and have discussions and talk about, dating and relationships. And it's just really,
I don't think they're helping themselves out.
yeah, it's really like eye-opening to see like how many women are just like unaware of, I'm just going to say it, how easy their life is, how easy dating is. Like dating is on easy mode for girls to the point where they don't even realize that they're super privileged. It's wild.
Yeah. And also for guys, like, for example, girls don't know what guys really want. So imagine a girl's trying to date guys and capture this high value guy, but you don't know what he wants.
Yeah.
It's never going to work. So that's scary, bro.
Well, it's good that you guys are doing this and more people are, because, I'm 32, you're 33. How old are you?
30.
Yeah. So we all know what it was like back in the days growing up, we didn't really have these figures to look up to.
Yeah.
And sort of pave the way.
Yeah.
Like even when I'm making videos now, I'm making videos for my younger self who didn't really have the right people to get advice from.
Mm-hmm.
So
Guys, that's what this podcast is about as well. It's a guide for you to follow so you can become the best version of yourself even when you're younger or older. Use it as a tool to just self-improve.
you're doing some really good work.
Thanks,
The
man.
social media, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Social media is kind of like a double-edged sword because on one end, right, it gives you all the information you need. You're able to, look anything up in mere seconds. It's fantastic, right? It's the information age. But at the same time, it's kind of been a double-edged sword and a negative for men because what's happened as a byproduct of that is that women have like tremendously increased their standards, which leaves a lot of guys out in the dust. There's studies coming out all the time that show that women find 90% of men plus as unattractive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like only the top 5 to 10%. A study actually came out a couple weeks ago, right before I put out this book, that the top 5% of men were by far the most promiscuous, getting all the girls sexually. So it's just,
it's so crazy what he's talking about. So social media did change the game in a lot of ways where you could be attractive in person, be charismatic in person, have game, all that. And if your Instagram is shit and doesn't look good and you give it to a girl, because, 9 times out of 10, most girls are going to ask for your Instagram. And if you give your girl your Instagram and it's not up to par, she will deny you just off that, even though you could have all these great traits in person. You need to have all those traits in person. Plus, your social media game needs to be up there as well.
it's becoming more and more pronounced. And I think as feminism gets stronger and women earn more money and, Instagram and social media takes off even more so, girls are going to be even more selective. So a lot of guys don't stand a chance, unfortunately, which is what we're kind of bringing attention to let guys know, hey, if you want to be able to get the dating life that you want, you are going to have to work for it. The days of being a nice guy and making $50,000 a year and being average and everything and getting a dutiful girlfriend that's going to love you, respect you, and submit to you, those days are almost gone.
It's not enough.
Those days are over. It's not the 1950s or the 60s anymore where you can, like you said, make 50,000 and think you'll just be good and you'll get the house and the white picket fence and the loyal wife. Those days are gone, my guy. Like we're not going back to those days. You need to be the best version of yourself, and you kind of need to be somewhat successful or respected in what you do. If you don't have those things, you're not going to have the best outcomes in life.
Yeah, it's not enough.
So this is the book. Actually, I read this last night. It's good. It's not like a massive book, but it's got like the essentials in.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. I actually wish I had this book when I was...
Why Women Deserve Less. I actually just ordered that book, so.
In my early 20s.
Yeah.
It would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of money, and probably quite a lot of heartbreak as well.
Yeah.
So we'll dive right into this. I want to know, first of all, what made you want to write this?
So from doing the podcast, we've interviewed now almost 2,000 girls on the show from different walks of life, from different states, different countries, different education levels. I know people say, you only bring dumb bimbos on. That's not true. Because if you watch the beginning of the show, we always go around the panel and ask the girls, what do you do for work? What's your highest education level completed, etc., to get an idea. And sometimes we'll have like one girl on the panel that has a master's degree, another girl that does OnlyFans, another girl that does porn, another girl that works in the professional world. So people say, oh, you only have OnlyFans girls on, but that's not true.
Yeah.
We bring all different types of girls on. But what I've found is that regardless of woman's education level, her background, etc., they still have a fairly unrealistic expectation of what they want in a man. And worse yet, they think they deserve and are entitled to that man without necessarily having to work on themselves. And I've realized this from regardless of the woman's background. So for me doing that and then also looking at the data, right, the objective data as well as my anecdotal data from doing the show, because at this point, I don't think anyone has interviewed more women than I have, right? It's very obvious that men really need to level up and focus on themselves, and then girls become the byproduct of the leveling up.
Very true with what he said. You need to become successful and level up and become the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And then the women become a byproduct of that. But if you think you could just be average and just be yourself and get women, sorry, my friend, it's just not true.
versus guys, oh, well, let me do everything to get a girl. Let me get a girl. And it's like they chase the women. They don't chase the success. And when you chase the women, what ends up happening is you have to work exponentially harder because you're dealing with someone that didn't like you in the first place. And I go into that in one of the chapters, how women really don't like men that much to begin with.
I like how you
Most
start.
men.
How you
Very true. We do not chase over here. We attract. Chase the success and the money and, the wealth, the traits that you need to become successful, and the women will start to be attracted to you.
how you start this off. This book does not call for refusing to help your fellow human if it's a woman, nor does it call for refusing to work, interact, or socialize with women in society. It is to prevent you from wasting your resources on the unreciprocated romantic pursuit of women to the point it ruins your life.
Exactly.
Just to break that down a little bit easier, he's basically saying this book is not against women, but it's there as a guide to teach men that you should not waste your time, attention, and money on chasing women. You should invest that within yourself to become successful, and then have the women come as a byproduct, as you said before. But it's totally not against women. It's not misogynistic, as people always say. It's really just a guy that's supposed to be there to benefit men.
I know a few guys right now, some of my friends, who are literally ruining their life in the pursuit of just trying to please a woman and make them happy and just making them their priority.
Yeah.
That's scary, bro.
My biggest thing is I tell guys all the time, like, haha, why women deserve less. But in general, if you find a girl that's worth it, that's cool. She's loyal to you, she's submissive to you, she makes your life easier, she's an asset versus a liability, treat her well. I definitely think the man should be the provider. I believe in the nuclear family. I believe that a man should take care of his family and his children and be the main provider. And I genuinely think that the man should be the breadwinner and the woman should work only if she chooses to. It should be elective for her. Mandatory for you as a man, elective for her. And I think that's when the dynamic is the best. But the problem is that most girls don't respect that. And most girls nowadays don't deserve that, to be honest with you. And my thing is, I want guys to protect themselves and their resources for the women that do deserve it versus the majority that don't.
Yeah.
Now, what he said there makes a lot of sense. Men do need to be in the breadwinner position, and they do need to come in just leading the household. And if your girl or your woman wants to work, it should be elective, But I think the issue is a lot of times is that women want to make their own money and they don't want to be fully dependent on a man, because if he goes out, then they're left in the dirt. But in reality, if your man is going to be successful, the chances are very small that he'll actually leave you. So yeah, they rather want to go 50-50 with somebody, when in reality, they don't want to go 50-50 with you.
And you would say a lot of these issues and problems have come about over the past 10, 20 years, largely due to technology and
social media, bro.
Social media.
Yeah. Feminism started it, and social media is exacerbating the problem definitely, because it's given women unrealistic expectations as to where they stand in the sexual marketplace. And what I mean by that is, let's say you take a girl that's a 6 or a 7, right? That not the most attractive, but somewhat attractive, above average, right? That woman now has access to men that are exceptional, if not top tier. And thanks to Instagram and social media, the internet, dating apps, all this stuff, right? And what ends up happening is she might get a date with one of these guys. She might get flown out by one of these guys. She might even smash one of these guys. But the reality is that she's never going to be able to lock down one of these guys. And what I've come to realize from interviewing so many girls.
Very true. If you take the average woman versus the average man, she's going to have, at 10 times more options than the average man is going to have. And when he says 6 or 7, that just means she's average looking, just like you can have average earning man who's average looking as well, right? But due to social media, they now have options all around the world, all around the country, right? That where they can just pick and choose from, possibly just get flown out, or if they want to, just get attention for the night, right? Where men in a lot of cases don't have that option. Now, where the problem comes into play is that women think that these options can lead into relationships, when in reality, those options are just there for sex. Those are just sexual options. These men don't actually want a relationship with them. But the average guy in their hometown could possibly be a good match for them, but they're not looking at those options anymore because of social media and the internet and the easy access to men and high status men in powerful positions. So
girls is they conflate sexual market value, them being attractive, with relationship market value, them being able to lock down a guy. And I would argue most girls are good at this, being able to get a guy, but can they keep them? And most girls can't. That's why so many of them are single. That's why so many of them have, cats and dogs. And we have more single women now than ever before. So the problem is the guy's game is to attain the girl. The girl's game is, can you retain the guy after sex? And I'd argue most modern day women can't.
Yeah.
And the data shows that.
They don't really have anyone telling them how to do that.
Yeah.
Do you think they're better off getting advice?
No, they don't. They have people like Derek Jackson and Steve Harvey giving them the most worst advice possible. For example, waiting 90 days before you become intimate with the man. Stupid advice, because he can just leave you right after those 90 days. You can't put so much value on your body. If you do, the men are going to see that for what it is and just understand that that's where all your value lies. And then, we're just going to leave after that.
On that from men or from women?
I think so, because men are leaders, right? And what I've realized from girls, and we've even done this on the show, where I'll tell a girl an objective truth about what men find attractive and the chances of her finding that man. We have a delusion calculator. A supporter of ours made it, and it's literally based on the U.S. Census Bureau and a National Health Survey, right? So it has probably the most accurate data figure points as far as like men in the United States. So we asked the girl, what height do you want him to be? How much do you want him to earn? Et cetera, et cetera. We go through it, right? Most of the girls pick a guy that's in the top 1%, if not less, when it comes to earning potential, height, not being obese, race, et cetera. And this guy is like 1% of the population. So we tell him, listen, you probably have this amount of chances of finding this guy. Are you going to, lower your standards a bit? And they say no. And we tell them, well, you need to lower your standards or be okay with the fact that you're probably going to be this guy's second or third girlfriend and you might not be a main. And then, and we'll tell them this is the objective reality, what you're facing. And the other girls on the table will say, no, girl, it's okay. Manifest it. So you watch it real time in 4K, them giving them terrible advice in the face of objective reality, the chance of finding this man. The screen's on there because we have a big screen and thing. It says less than 1%. And, we have a cat bag calculator. It says like 1 out of 5 cat bags. All these girls are scoring 5 cat bags, right? And the numbers are there, staring them in the face. This guy is rare. And if you do find him, he's going to want multiple women. No.
So when they say this guy is rare, most times women tend to want the same things, which is a guy who's over 6 feet, a guy who makes over 6 figures. And when it comes down to race, they're usually attracted to either a black or a white guy. And when you look at the numbers, if you want a man who's over 6 feet, that's already 15% of the male population. And then you want him to make 6 figures. And then you want him to have a degree. So you want all these things. You've already reduced it by 85%. What do you expect? And when they do meet this person, they think that he should just be monogamous to them. And the reality is, why should he when he has so many options and he's built himself up to be a high earner with, good genetics? He's over 6 feet for the most part, and he has enough charisma and game to attract you. Why wouldn't other women be attracted to that? So what Myron is saying is that, these men are in the top 1%, but the women are pretty basic because they're just, they're just hot. They're not adding any other value for the most part than just their beauty. So what it comes down to is, what's more rare, the 1% man or your beauty?
I'm going to find my Prince Charming that's going to be monogamous to me, blah, blah, blah. And then the other girls actually encourage it. So what we've realized is women reinforce this delusion amongst each other, and single women keep each other single. They don't tell each other what they need to hear, which is why the father figure and, having a strong brother, uncles, and I think the father especially needs to be had, because your dad will tell you how the world really works versus women give each other fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
Most dads will tell you how the world really works. Some dads are still living in the old age and they don't really know, but for the most part, they will tell you that, men are, I don't want to say men are going to be men, but there's certain traits that you can't really change out of men that are just going to be there. And if you have a man who truly loves you, cares for you, and will take a bullet for you, there may be some things you might have to overlook.
Do you think in a woman's eyes that perfect man even exists? Because they're obviously looking for the man to have like all these characteristics where he's like over 6 foot, making a certain amount of money, looks a certain ways, charming, funny, status, whatever. But like you said, the harsh reality is those men are probably not going to be loyal.
Yeah.
Some of them might be.
Yeah. And I tell them all the time, can you find that man? Maybe he'll be loyal to you and be a Chad and tall and good looking and in shape. Maybe, but the chances are very unlikely. And you're better off going off of probability versus possibility. And women tend to err on the side of possibility and hoping versus the probability. Right. See, and I've realized that this kind of comes like men are forced to accept reality, because if we don't perform, our reality reflects that. If you're a loser, you're fat, etc., people don't respect you, you don't get girls, you don't get dates, people make fun of you, you're ridiculed, you're bullied for it, which I think is actually good. You get negative reinforcement for your poor decisions. Women don't operate that way.
Very true, guys. If you are not attractive, you're not working on yourself, you're not trying to earn as much money as possible, you're not going to the gym to keep your fitness up, to keep your health up, and you're not putting in the steps to, have the best outcomes in life, life is going to show you that, you're not going to get the most attractive women. You're not going to get the best quality women. You're probably going to have women disrespect you all the time. And that's what he's saying right there. You need to be striving for better so you can get better outcomes.
That way, though, if a girl is mildly attractive, she could be delusional, stupid, not necessarily the most intelligent of person. She will still get positive reinforcement and told she's special, she's a princess, she deserves the world. All she has to do is go on Instagram and get that validation from a bunch of
Lizzo, for example. You can be overweight and just get the same amount of validation for being overweight. Pretty ridiculous.
Sims. And then on top of that, why does a girl feel like she needs to self-improve or become better if all she gets is positive reinforcement for her inadequacies? And that's kind of where we're at. So I think social media reinforces the delusion. I've seen girls, literally, because I like to go on the feminist Twitter sometimes to see the other side. And I've seen girls make Tinder accounts when they feel bad or after a breakup, just to get a bunch of guys to swipe right on them, feel better, and then they'll close it down. Like, girls use dating apps for validation.
He is not lying, guys. Girls will just go on these dating apps for attention. They don't really like you. The guy that they like probably stopped talking to them, and they're going on these apps just for attention. They're there to just absorb and suck your time. They don't even want to go on dates, most of them. They just want you to be there to talk to them and be a little jester, and fucking be a clown and be funny, be entertaining for the time. No, stop that shit. We're not doing that anymore. Put that time, put that money, put those resources all into yourself, invest it into yourself, and become the best version of yourself.
Talk about that in the book too.
He put some stats in saying that it goes from them being on Tinder or whatever it might be to actually getting down to the point where there is a successful date. It's like 1% or less than that.
And girls go, and I think it's very important for men to understand that women use dating apps, right, and the internet to meet men much differently than men use it to meet women. Men use it, I want to get a date. Women use it, okay, I can get a date, I can go on a free dinner, I can get free attention, I can get a guy to send me money. So women are able to use male attention to their advantage. And if a man doesn't understand this, he can get finessed and really get used and abused.
Mhm.
And a lot of guys don't know this uncomfortable truth that women will use you if you allow them to. So it's upon you to not get finessed.
What is your
Very true, guys. Women will use you if you allow them to. They do not see any issue with going on a date with a man that they have no sexual interest in, or matter of fact, no interest in at all. As long as it benefits them, they're willing to manipulate you into doing whatever it is you're going to do to benefit them. That's why you have to take time to really vet the girls that you're talking to and make your time valuable. So if you know you're working and you're busy 40 hours a week working, and then you're spending another 20 hours working on your side hustle, working on your business, you're not going to spend the 2 hours that you get out of a day, free time out of a day, going on a date with a girl who you might know is just going to use you for a free lunch. So that's how you kind of need to start looking at it. Look at it as your time is valuable. Does she deserve my time? Most men just come at it as, oh, yeah, I can talk to her and possibly get a date. No, she's going to sense that energy. She's going to feel that. And she's going to say, okay, well, shit, if I can get free lunch out of him, shit, fuck it, why not? You know, and she may not even like you. So you have to be real careful with your time and how you spend your time.
or feedback been so far from releasing this book? I was just curious to know. I imagine a large percentage of the people who bought this have been men.
Yeah.
But has this ruffled some feathers?
Of course, yeah. I mean, we were on Mo Vlogs yesterday, and his sister didn't like the title.
But it's not, I don't think it's offensive though.
Yeah.
Like I think obviously there's some parts which are probably going to piss off some women, but
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of it is harsh truth.
The problem is though, right? The book title itself is definitely controversial. But if you read the book, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It tells you why and breaks it down. However, what's going to happen? Most girls are not going to read the book. He said that. How dare him? Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, because we live in a world nowadays where, quite frankly, we're told to kiss women's asses regardless of how they behave. And my thing is, I want guys to treat women accordingly. If she treats you poorly, sure, feel free to treat her poorly back or not give her any of your attention. You know, my thing is all about reciprocation. And the reality is that most women don't reciprocate, right, to men. And I want guys that if you're not getting that reciprocation of you're doing all this and she's doing nothing, fuck her, man. Kick her to the curb.
You mentioned the book. You say you must.
Yo, big facts, guys. Reciprocation is key. If you feel like you're doing all the texting, all the talking, trying to court this girl, trying to go on a date with this girl, then you're doing too much and you need to just let it go. Because 9 times out of 10, she's just using you for your attention and she doesn't really like you. On the other hand of that, if you're talking to a woman and she's giving you that same energy back, she's texting you back, if you're a quick texter and she's, you know, replying back fast as well, those are all good signs. Reciprocation is what you need to have a successful relationship. And if she's not showing you that up front, then why even pursue it? You know what I mean? So, I mean, it can even go as far as, you know, let's just leave it as that. You know, reciprocation is key. And for things to be successful, for you to have a successful date with this girl, she needs to be reciprocating the same energy beforehand.
You must strike a balance that allows you to achieve your old contract desires while successfully navigate new contract realities.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So in the book, I talk about the old contract and the new contract. And in the old contract, it used to be, right, and this is the way the world has always worked, is men trade resources for sex, right, or sexual access, right? And then women, right, go ahead and give children if they want, right? Mm-hmm. But nowadays, it's the new contract is, I don't need no man, I'm strong and independent, you know, all this feminist propaganda BS. But the thing is that what women do is they kind of negotiate in bad faith. So they take parts of the old contract that benefit them while simultaneously getting rid of the duties that came with that contract. And guys are stupid enough to not understand this. So in other words, women expect you to be a traditional man and chivalrous at all times, while they can pick and choose when they want to be a lady.
Oh.
And that's not a good trade, because if I'm going to be held to a standard, I'm supposed to protect and provide for you and be this dominant leader. Well, I'm supposed to get some kind of authority with that because I'm responsible. But what women want is for you to have all the responsibility with zero authority. And Rollo Tomassi says it in the book, and I quote him as well, shout out to him, that authority without responsibility, responsibility without authority is slavery. And that's where a lot of guys are, where they're taking care of a girl. They might be simping. I'm sure you see it here in Dubai, where you got guys that have money that take care of these women, but they treat them like crap and they don't appreciate it. Now, is that all the time? No, of course. But, you know, I tell guys all the time, like, having money and status isn't enough. You need to have other things in play too. You have to have your frame on point. You have to have.
Now, but before he goes off there, something powerful that he said was responsibility without authority is slavery. And what he means by that is, if you're out with a woman and you're responsible for her safety, you're responsible for her financially, but you can't tell her, hey, I need you to stop talking in this present situation that we're in right now because it might become dangerous, then that situation right there is slavery, because you have all the responsibility as a man to carry out your masculine duties, but on the other end, you have no control over what she can do. She can do and say whatever to you, which in turns is slavery, but really just a bad deal. You know, it's like you know, it's like you have I wouldn't say it, but it's like you have a damn, I don't even want to say that. But yes, responsibility without authority is like slavery. You're not in control of the situation that you need to be in, and you have no control over this person that you're with right now. But if it hits the fan, you are going to be responsible for her safety.
Of game, you have to understand how women operate psychologically. It needs to be the full package. I never tell guys, oh yeah, just make money and you're going to get all the girls. No, you're going to become a rich simp and they're going to use you for that. So, but at the same time, I don't want you to be a brokey that's attractive, that's in the gym and can't, maintain a girl long term if you want a serious relationship. So you got to strike a balance and have it all. But yeah, basically, girls dabble in both contracts and take and pick and choose what they want. And I'm telling guys, like, no, it's one or the other. You want to be strong and independent, cool. You're only going to get sex and nothing else.
Yeah. Speaking of simps, you mentioned that there's an army of simps in today's society.
Yeah.
How the hell do we fix that problem? Because I think this is why women have such inflated egos and so much choice. They just get flattered every single day by all these offers which they're getting. And the majority of these people are men who are just simping.
Yeah, dude.
So what I've noticed is, like, if you try and tell a simp to stop being a simp, he's not going to listen because they're not thinking properly. Like, even back in the day when I was in my early 20s, like, I'm not going to lie, like, I had some.
We all
had some
bro.
days.
We've all been there, bro.
I've simped before. We all have. Like, I think that's why it's so important, because you have to be there to know what it feels like, so you can be able to properly dispense advice to someone that is there. But the problem is this, let's be honest here. We know men are hard-headed. They got to take the L for them to finally come to realization, like, what was I doing? Because every guy has this kind of ego thing where they think, no, my methodology of getting girls is the best, whether they're paying for escorts, they're tricking on OnlyFans, or whatever it is. They think this is the best way to do it because they're so ego invested and they spent their time, their money, their resources, whatever it may be, into pursuing women in that avenue. It's not until they take a massive L and they get some serious heartbreak that they come to this side of the internet and realize, wow, everything I've been told is a lie. Because we tell men all the time to prop women up, pedestalize them. That's how you get them, be a nice guy. And those days are done. They used to work maybe 50, 60 years ago, right? When being a gentleman would work. But nowadays you have to pick and choose which girls to be a gentleman with. But
Facts. What he's talking about, guys, is we were told that you should compliment a woman, offer it. You should buy her flowers for the first date. You should open her door. When you're taking her out, you should go pick her up. You should pay for the first date without her doing anything in return, without her reciprocating any energy in return. And those days are done with. Being the nice guy does not work anymore. Women are not attracted to nice guys. Women are attracted to men who have options and are, are the full package, essentially. You need to have game, you need to be successful. And I think you said you need to have social status, you need to be charismatic. You need to be the full package in today's dating market to get the best options for yourself.
But like simping,
Yeah.
bro, it's only going to get worse, I think.
Because usually, right, what happens is a guy will find a girl that's hot to him, attractive, and he'll put all his effort behind her, pick her up, put her on a pedestal, give his all to her, right? She might like that at the beginning, then she gets bored, they get married, have kids, whatever. She's like, you know what? This guy is boring. I'm tired of him. I'm going to leave.
Mhm.
And she divorces him, takes half his stuff, moves on. But the guy is left with nothing now and half his money, if at all. He's like, damn, what do I do? And he's like, you know what? I need answers. Goes online, go to YouTube, find our content, roll up Tomasi, and then, damn, here's where I messed up. But most guys, they're like, you know what? Until that point, they don't ever look for answers. So that's the thing that happens all the time. So it's part of life.
But as far as like simping, dude, I honestly predict that it's going to get
worse
before it gets better.
Yeah.
Like, it's great because this type of content, right? Like, Andrew's done a fantastic job of like letting guys understand that, you do have value as a man. You just need to work and earn it. Yeah. And then women will respect you for it. But it's still a minority. Like, most guys are simps. It's just crazy. A lot of guys are in a sexless relationship, sexless marriage. They're with a girl that doesn't respect them. They're with a girl that likes to go to the club and, have a bunch of guys DM them and get attention. And, once guys wake up and realize like this is unacceptable behavior on a worldwide scale, then women will start to act right. But, women aren't going to change until guys become better and let girls know that this is an acceptable behavior.
I look at it as like a religion, right? So for example, let's say I'm Christian. I want you to be Christian. If I just tell you, oh, come to my church, read the Bible, you're like, bro, for what? However, if you come across a problem and have a solution, but live my lifestyle, you're like, damn, he lives good, he's happy, why am I not happy? You know what? Yo, Mike, how do you do what you do? Hey, man, if you want, come to church with me. Same thing with simping. You know what? I'm simping right now, but I'm losing money. I feel bad. I don't feel good. Mike has a good lifestyle. He has girls around him all the time. You know what? Mike, how do I get help from you? So then they ask you, and that's when you give it to him. But you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. So
I think for me personally, I learned my biggest lessons from just getting heartbroken and going through the experience of being a simp and then literally being treated like trash and then realizing, oh, okay, I understand what mistakes which I made. So I mean, people can try as much as possible to try and learn from the mistakes that other people have made, but I think nothing is more hard hitting than actually experiencing it yourself.
Yeah.
But women are fantastic creatures in the fact that they operate on respect. And what I mean by that is a woman can't love you truly and you can't get the best out of a woman with her love unless she really respects you. And the problem that guys don't understand is that respect is earned through a bunch of different avenues, right? You got to have your physicality on point. She needs to know that you can actually protect her. You're stronger than her. You need to be competent. You need to know more than she does. You need to be smarter than her in almost every regard. You need to make more money than her. Like, women don't look for an equal, even though mainstream society says, oh, I want an equal partnership. No, you don't. You want a man superior to you in every single way. If you look at 50 Shades of Grey, which is one of the most popular books, women want a guy that's better than them in every regard, every metric. So what I'm telling guys is become that guy, and then right? Because you've created excellence and you're still demanding more excellence upon yourself. Then you could bring the girl into your life and demand excellence from her. But you need to, I look at it like I use a Pokemon analogy, right? If you don't have enough badges, right? You couldn't control a certain type of Pokemon, right? It was like maybe a level 50 Charizard. You only got 3 badges, though. You're not going to be able to control him because you haven't beaten enough gym leaders. I tell guys all the time, that's kind of what it is. You need to have enough Pokemon badges and beat the Elite Four to get the most attractive girls because they have a bunch of people that want to get them. And for you to be able to command that respect from them, you need to be on point first. Women look for leaders, but the big thing is you need to be able.
Yo, facts, guys. If you want the best out of a woman and you want the best top tier women, talking about the 8, 9s, the 10s, right? You need to have all your Pokemon badges. And what are the Pokemon badges? You need to be successful. You need to be respected. You need to be charismatic. You need to have game. You need to have that social proof. People need to know who you are when you step outside. Those are just some of the badges that you need to have to be able to have the opportunity to even meet these 8, 9, or 10 type of women. All right? So what he's saying is not wrong. You know, you do need to build yourself up as a man. You can't just sit back and think you're gonna get the best out of your girl or out of the world, essentially, if you're not doing anything and you're not putting in the work. You need to put in the work, get your fucking badges so you can beat the Elite Four and become Pokemon champion. All right. Or in this case, get that 8, 9, or 10. Get that 10. So yeah, guys, build yourself up. Continue striving, beating those gym leaders, getting all those badges, taking it one step at a time to developing yourself. And hopefully you get the opportunity and you're ready to master the world and get that 8, 9, or 10.
Be able to lead by example, and for her to respect you, she has to feel like she can submit to you and you're the leader. But the problem is that guys want girls that are going to be submissive, but they don't have their life together.
Now, they may still test you even though you're a high value guy, but at the same time, they'll listen because they respect you. So it comes with the that type of like setup. But like regardless of the fact, if you're that guy that she wants to be with, you tell her, hey, you know what? I don't like that. You know what? This man's my dream man. I'm gonna listen to what he has to say.
Mm-hmm. And that comes back, and I say all that to bring it full circle to the simping. The reason why a girl can't respect a simp is because a simp pedestalizes her.
Yeah. And
women know that they need a man who's superior to them. If you're simping on her and pedestalizing her, she automatically infers that she's better than you. And I tell guys, all the feminists can get mad at me, whatever. You got to be better than your girl in every regard. You have to be superior to her. And not only that, you need to have other women. Oh my God, that's so controversial. No, because women only act right when they know they can be replaced.
Key point on that. Even if you do have a great woman in your life and she's adding value, she's beautiful, and she's there just for you, you need to have other options in women. Now, do you need to exercise those options? That's up to you. But you need to be able to at least show your woman that you are a catch, and that in reality that you are better than her, like you said, and that if she stops acting the way she is and she does some disrespectful-ish, you can get up and just leave. You need to be in the abundance mindset, and you need to reflect that in your relationship. That's all he's saying.
2 ways you can know if someone's a real simp. For example, this is what we've seen over a period of time is they can't say no to the girl and they can't walk away. Mm-hmm. Those two things are hard plays. If you can't do those two things, just kind of like, yo, what's up with you? So
yeah. So I people, and I agree with Andrew on this all as well, because he's always been big on like having multiple girls and everything. But I've noticed I get the best treatment from women when they know that I have another girl and they can be replaced at any time. Because what happens is, and this is human nature in general, whenever you start to get comfortable, you start to slack off a bit. Like I got my position, I'm locked in, etc. Like with girls, you need another woman there to keep the other girl on her toes. Because when a girl starts getting comfortable, that's a lot of time when disrespect happens. I tell guys all the time, listen to the song Future, bitch, don't get too comfortable. It's like a funny, catchy line, but, drill it into guys' heads that when a woman gets comfortable, that's when the disrespect comes. That's when she does wants to maybe go out with the girls, or she wants to dress more provocatively when she's not around you. She wants to put pictures of her ass all over the place. She's starting to subtly screen for a better guy than you. And see, if a man isn't aware of this, he's not going to know, because a lot of guys think men and women are equal. So unless she's at the mall cold approaching guys, they're going to assume, oh no, she's still loyal to me. No, dummy. Like, girls move differently when they're looking for a mate. They can't overtly go ahead and go up to a guy and be like, you're handsome, I'd love to talk to you. No, most of the time they do it covertly, whether it's them going to the club with their friends or the guys under the guise of a girls' night out, or it's them being on Instagram, putting pictures of themselves, DMing, whatever it may be. Like, girls are much sneakier when it comes to infidelity and doing things, but you might not even catch it as a guy. And actually, as a matter of fact, the way a woman treats her guy in public, or the way she puts herself out to the public, right, tells you a lot about the man's masculinity. Typically, when the girl really respects her man, you see that she's quiet, she's docile, she doesn't have that big of an internet profile unless the guy wants her to. Everything she does is typically under his authority. But when she doesn't care, she talks to him any which way, blah, blah, blah. And that's when you know the guy is messed up. A woman is typically a mirror image of her man's masculinity.
Yeah. The public.
What he's saying is a big fact, guys. Another one. The way a woman represents herself in her public image, whether that's on social media or just in her day-to-day life when she's outside, is a reflection of her man, you know? So, for example, like he said, if she's dressing provocatively, or just posting bikini pics all over social media, then you know that she's entertaining the opportunity for other men to approach her. And a woman who really respected you and respected the relationship wouldn't do that. And I would even go as far as, if you get into a relationship with a woman who had those provocative pictures, or she dressed provocatively in person, she would change that because of the type of man you are. So understand that if the way your woman is out in the public, and on her public social media, her public image, how she displays herself there, is a reflection of the man that she's with, and the reflection of her possibility and what she's open to in terms of attracting men, and the options that she's putting herself out there, if she's making herself look available to other men.
Disrespect is the worst thing.
Yeah, it's bad. And the crazy part is, like, women don't want to be with a guy that they can disrespect like that. They want a guy, as controversial as this may sound, they want a guy that can look them dead in the eye and say, shut the fuck up.
Mhm.
Who are you talking to?
Yo,
Get out my house. And I've done that to girls, and they come back different. Like, or I've had it before where, she'll act crazy. I'm like, get out my house. I'll call another chick right in front of her and let her know. And people say, oh my God, that's so evil. That's so bad. But that's what you have to do with women a lot of times, because we live in this crazy gynocentric society where women think it's acceptable to disrespect men openly sometimes. And you have to constantly let them know, punish bad behavior. That's why we got viral the first time. You got to frank house these hoes sometimes. You got to let them know this wasn't acceptable. Obviously, you never do it physically. Of course not.
Yeah, guys, if you're getting openly disrespected by women, you need to just cut it or correct it. Maybe she has one chance for you to correct it, but if it keeps reoccurring and it keeps happening over and over again, you need to cut it loose, man. If she's putting her hands on you, or if she's, cursing at you, yelling at you, going through your shit, bro, one time to correct it, and then after that, cut her loose. You cannot be afraid to walk away from these women, especially if they're openly and blatantly disrespecting you.
You do it through your actions of replacing her. The only power you have as a man in 2023 and beyond is you got to be able to walk away from a girl if she disrespects you.
Mhm.
And that's when she realizes, damn, this guy really will walk.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that local.
Got that, guys.
Get another girl at that might be cuter than me. Bam. That's when they turn around and they say, I need to readjust my behavior, because women rarely ever get put in an uncomfortable position like that where they can be replaced. Most guys the girl will do some fucked up shit and he'll sit there, please take me back. And he didn't even do nothing. It was her. But she'll go ahead and gaslight and make him feel bad. And you can't play that game. It's like, you want to be like that? Cool. Get the fuck out my house. And that's when women act right.
Gotta walk away.
Do you like being in a relationship with a woman who is going to call you out on some of your bullshit sometimes and challenge you, or do you prefer to be with a woman who is going to be more submissive and will just say yes to everything?
She must be submissive, because the world already challenges me. I don't need my girl to do that. Like because the thing is, I never put unreasonable expectations on any of my girls. Typically it's, hey, can you do this for me? It's small stuff, right? I need you to help me maybe with my business, clean the apartment up, whatever. It's never anything hard. So if they give me any back talk or give me a hard time, blah, blah, blah about that, I know, okay, it depends. If she's just a chick that I'm just like smashing, I don't care. Who cares? But if it's like a main chick, whatever, they know better. They already get stuff situated, whatever. If my friends come by, they serve them, like all this stuff. And I think that's very important, because you want your girl to be an asset. And when she goes out, she represents you. So I can't have her going out acting crazy, because that embarrasses me. So, but no, as far as like her trying to challenge me or whatever, like no woman's going to challenge me, because the world already challenges me. I'm
Facts, guys. Like, we don't need women to challenge us. We don't need women who are going to add to the levels of stress we already deal with as men going out into the world and into society to better ourselves, right? You don't need that extra layer of stress. When you come home, it should be peaceful. When you come home, your girl should want to make your day easier, not harder. So what he's saying is absolutely true. You know, if your woman is adding more stress to your life or just making it more difficult, maybe time to give that relationship another look.
I challenge myself. I don't need a woman to do that. That's not her job. You know, my job as the man is to be the masculine authority and going out there and becoming better, etc. I'm already self-motivated. I don't need her to come in. Matter of fact, if a woman motivates you, you fucked up. Like, no woman should ever be coming, because women are inherently lazy.
You want a woman to support you, though.
Support me to become better.
Yeah.
But she's never going to be like my motivation, like, oh, I need motivation from my girl. Like, I already lost it. That's the point.
Yeah.
And the reason why, controversial take, women are inherently lazy. I talk about this in the book. Like, all human beings are lazy, but women have a higher proclivity to be lazy. What I mean by that is lazy when it comes to creating resources, right? Women are here to create children, not create excess resources. The man's job is to create excess resources for a family. That's why when a man makes money, he says, oh, wow, this is awesome. Like, a family can be dependent upon me. That's why we go out and build and create the, beautiful world that we have now. Women, on the other hand, when they make money, what do they say? I'm independent of who? A man. So they don't want to create excess resources. They do it because they have to.
Very true, guys. When we go out and make money, we're doing it in the hopes that we can build a future for ourselves. And if a woman is a part of that, most times it is, that's why we're going out to become successful, or is going out to support our family and help give our family another edge, right? But what he's saying is that when women go out and make money, they're doing it in the hopes that they can be independent of a man, that they don't have to rely or depend on him at all, and they can do what they want and they can say what they want. But in reality, when you look at things, we're complementary. We're supposed to go together. So the man should be the one who goes out, does the risky stuff to bring home the money and, protect, provide for the family and so forth, while the woman should be at home and, support her man in whatever that looks like. To Myron, I think he was like, she's respectful around the house and anything like that. But it just comes down to, how is your woman adding value and being an asset to your success and to you being able to provide the resources and going out and bettering yourself in the world? How does that dynamic look in your relationship? If she's just out there doing her own thing, building her own resources, getting her own money, then she's essentially doing that because she doesn't think you're worthy enough to be dependent upon. She still wants her independence and the ability to leave you if push comes to shove. So, keep that in the back of your mind when you're, vetting these women for relationships.
Have to a lot of the times. And if you look at every metric, men dominate all the work fields that make the most money, that are hard labor, that are difficult to do, that are based in science, engineering, technology, and math, whereas women dominate all the fields that are more, human, like people to people type contact stuff, like sociology, hairdresser, etc. A lot of useless jobs, to be honest. They don't create the infrastructure of the world. And most women would prefer to be home with a man, but the problem is that they can't do it because things are expensive now. We can talk about feminism, how it's kind of messed up, and increase the labor force, which is decreased wages and inflation, etc. But to make a long story short, women on average work less hours. They work less hard jobs. They don't go into career fields that pay the most. They're more interested in being involved with people versus being involved with things, which being involved with things tend to pay more. They don't want to take dangerous jobs. They don't want to work hard hours. So there's a multitude of reasons why men make more money, but it boils down to women are lazier when it comes to creating resources. So my thing is, how are you going to rely on someone, right, or a being that is inherently lazy when it comes to creating resources as your motivation as a man?
Yeah. Women are lazier compared to most men when it comes to creating resources. What he means by that is just like going out and really putting your life at risk to provide for your family. if you were to say you have two people in the relationship, a man and a woman, who do you think would, go out there in let's just say working during COVID, during the whole pandemic, who's more likely to still go out there and work? The man. And the man needs to have that responsibility, that layer of masculinity to him, so that when he comes home, he's respected by his woman. I'm going out there risking my life to provide for the family. I don't think any woman should go out there and risk her life to provide for the family. I think that's just twisted. So it inherently does make them lazier, but it doesn't mean that they don't do anything. It just means that when it comes to providing for the family, a man should be doing more than his woman. She should not be the reason that you want to go out there and make more money at that too. You should already have that motivation and that drive within yourself. You can't rely on your woman to want to build that drive, because if she leaves, what are you going to have? You need to kind of have that drive within you already.
That's terrible. That motivation's got to come from within. It's got to be intrinsic to you, not to a woman. Because let's say you lose that girl. What are you going to do now? Oh my God, I can't work because I lost my girl. That's terrible. And you're definitely not going to be able to attract another one. Women are admire men that are self-driven and ambitious without them. Like a girl wants to be, no woman will ever admit this, but she wants a guy that's going to be successful with or without her. She just comes in as a compliment.
Mm-hmm. So this ideal woman, which you would be looking for, who's more on the submissive side.
Yeah. I have a few.
I would imagine.
I got a few of them working.
They're pretty hard to find in Miami.
Yeah, very, very, dude. It's very difficult
because I've known.
It's not just Miami. Submissive women are hard to find nationwide throughout America. Women tend to be more masculine just because the fact that they have the opportunity and the ability to make a lot more money than most men nowadays. So with that, you got to strive to become more successful, guys. Come on.
Noticed here in Dubai, the good thing about Dubai is there's a good selection of many different nationalities.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
You get all their cultural backgrounds and their approach to men. I've noticed a big difference between Russian women, Eastern European women, English women, Spanish, like everything. It's really interesting. But I really honestly don't have much experience dating American women.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly would say I don't really have, from what I've heard, and experienced a little bit, like I don't really have any interest in diving into that too much. Yeah. I met some cool American girls, but a lot of them, particularly the younger generation, like they've been brought up with all the wrong morals. We were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So yeah, man. So basically, you gotta train your girl nowadays, bro, especially in America. And more often than not, she comes with a lot of baggage in terms of like TikTok videos, what she's been hearing from her friends, that are slutty as hell. And it's kind of like, if you find a girl like that, just literally go back in time and say, you know what? All right, these past couple 18, 20 years, you've been brainwashed to believe this bullshit. So now to say, you know what? Cool. As a man, take my time and energy to train you in the more, I want to say, traditional ways. And it could be easy, it could be hard. But my thing is like, having to train somebody to actually be a woman is crazy, bro. And American women, bro, are notorious for being like legit, I don't want to say the word. Hard work and hoes.
I'll say this because like when we say that, right, girls get so triggered when we're on the podcast. We're like, yeah, you got to train women. And they're like, oh my God. And then I'll say, okay, well, let me ask you a question. If you want to build the body of your dreams, where do you go? To the gym. What do you do there? Oh, I train. Okay. If you're competing for a sport, what do you do? Oh, I train. If you have a marathon you're going to prepare for, what do you do? Oh, you train. Oh, so you're telling me that you're willing to sit there and train to get a better body, to maybe train for a job, etc., but you won't train for your man? And then that's when it really hits home. A girl, right? Western women, a lot of time, they'll go to college, right? They'll wear a suit and dress, conservatively
I'll
for
see
a
it.
job, right? They'll go to that job, they'll serve the boss, they'll do what they say, etc. Then come home to you and you'll say, "Can you make me a sandwich?" They'll say, "Do it yourself." And I think that's ludicrous because they will give their best years to a company that doesn't give a fuck about them over a man who will provide, protect, and provide and provision for her, right? And give her children. And that's the day and age that we're in now. So what I would say is, right, because this part of the world is different because the women have a father. They come from a nuclear family.
Yeah.
They have some semblance of healthy masculinity. But in the United States, where we have a fatherless generation, right, you have a bunch of women that don't respect masculinity in general. Hell, most women, and I love to ask this question a lot of times on the podcast, do you think most women respect most men? And the answer is almost always no, they don't. And I think that's very scary because men built the world, but most women don't respect those very men. So what I tell guys is, since women come with this poisonous mind, especially these Gen Zers, these younger women that grew up on iPads and TikTok and all this other stuff, like you have to almost deprogram the fuckery out of them and tell them, this is how the world really works. No, you're not a princess. You're going to follow me. This is how it is. I will treat you like a princess if it's earned, but I'm not going to go ahead and treat you like a princess just because. You have to earn it.
No man is going to want them in a relationship.
Yeah. And you have to make them, you almost have to make them more ladylike and turn them into an asset, because most girls come in, right, in the United States especially, they come in and they think, what can I get out of this? What can this guy do for me versus what can I do for this man? They're extractors. And your job as the man is to bring that girl in, right, turn her from an extractor, right, and a liability into an asset. Now, a lot of guys don't have this skill set, which is why I'm so big on, like, you have to get yourself to a certain point, because then you could demand that excellence from the girl back in reciprocation. But yeah, you definitely have to teach girls in the West how to be a good girlfriend for you, because a lot of them come with bad habits. They want to do girls' nights out. They want to dress like hoes. They want to act like hoes. They want to twerk in public. They want to have guy friends. They want to be able to do certain behaviors and actions that might put the relationship at risk. And your job as the man is to protect her from herself a lot of the times and not put herself in compromising situations that might hurt the relationship. But a lot of girls think that it's okay to behave in certain ways even when they have a man. And your job as the man is to let her know, no, this is not how it goes. Just like you want to work for that job and there's rules and regulations, same here. You want a relationship with me, that comes with rules and regulations and boundaries. And your job as the man is to be able to enforce those boundaries. How do you enforce it? Never physically. Always, I will leave you. You will go back to the fucking streets. This is how it is.
Yeah, I think.
Yo, he said a lot there, but essentially what he's saying is you need to start seeing yourself as a business or a company, because most women, I will tell you, they will spend 4 years grinding to go to that dream job that they always wanted. They will put in the years and the work in the gym to get that body that they desire. But when it comes to just finding a man, they think that we should just accept them for who they are. And I'm here to tell you that is not true. You need to see yourself as a business or a company where she also needs to work for your relationship.
I think one of the problems is there's just a lack of good female role models.
That too.
Yeah, the music, what they see on TikTok. Yo, TikTok is poison, bro. I don't know if you ever seen those reels go up and down, like, for example, short video, girls talking about, oh yeah, men are this, men are that, and they believe that stuff. Know what men want. Like, now here's the problem, right? If you're a guy of means, a guy of value, shit like that, you're never gonna take it serious. But once again, they don't know what men want. Oh, he's tall, successful, in the gym, good looking. I want him. But they don't know how to keep men in the whole setup. So my thing is like, okay, at what point do they say, you know what? I'm feeling all the time. I'm just smashing these guys. Nothing's happening. But they don't really learn, bro, until it's too late and they're really old.
Here's the other interesting thing too. The female role models in the West are very bad. You got
Cardi B,
Kim Kardashian,
Meg Thee
Stallion, City Girls, people like Lana Rhodes. These girls from what's that podcast?
Emma Ratajkowski's doing her own podcast as well. I saw a few clips of that and I was like,
Call Her Daddy?
Yeah, Call Her Daddy. Yeah. That's the girl that did the thing with Mia Khalifa, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, like you got all these girls, right, that are like telling women a bunch of bullshit, right? And here's the funny part. These girls, these strong, independent women, essentially become the man that they wanted in the first place.
Ooh.
They become a boss babe. They make this money. They become successful. They have, and what women don't understand is when you become a boss babe and you make money and you become successful, what ends up happening is you take on masculine tendencies. You take on masculine traits. And guess what happens when you meet a guy that's actually masculine that meets a masculine woman?
Clash.
Yeah, it's a clash. And not only that, a guy like me, if I meet a chick that's like a boss babe or whatever, I put her in the sex only category. And here's the scary part. She'll never know it. I'll fuck with her. I'll talk with her, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. But a lot of the time she doesn't know that she's been pretty much disqualified from being a serious girlfriend from the beginning because she has tendencies that aren't attractive to me. But the problem is that so many women think acting like a guy, chasing a career, being masculine, being dominant, being competitive. Let me challenge you. All this fuck shit is attractive. It's not.
Yeah.
And I tell girls all the time on the podcast, all right, so you think it's attractive for you to be a boss babe, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it is. Okay, well, you know what? How about this? How about on Saturday nights, I wear heels and I wear a dress. Would you go out with me? Ew, no. Fantastic. That's exactly how men feel when you talk about you being a boss babe and competitive. Oh my God, no, it's not. It is the same because a masculine woman is just like a feminine man. But here's the craziness. Women expect you, right, to be masculine, right? And they can pick and choose when they want to be feminine. And you're supposed to accept them no matter what. But if I act feminine, right, maybe on a Saturday, they would never accept me. So what men want is considered discrimination. What women want is considered standards. If I say men don't like masculine women, oh, you're just insecure. No, it's annoying. Just like me wearing heels would be weird to you. Would I like look at the lunacy of like when you challenge female logic, it never makes sense. If I told a girl, okay, well, I want to wear makeup and heels on Saturday, right? And she said, ew, no, don't do that. Like I'd prefer if when you wore your suit and your sports coat and went out. Like, and I said, oh no, that's because you're insecure. She would look at me like I'm crazy if I said that, right? Because what do you mean you're insecure? She'd be like, what do you mean I'm insecure? No, you're just not acting like a man. Okay, so how am I insecure for saying like, I don't want you acting like a dude and being all masculine? Oh no, you're insecure. No, it's annoying. Just like you'd be annoyed by me dressing like a girl. But when you put female logic to the test like that, it never works. And that's when they finally hit the eureka like, okay, I see where you're coming from now. I don't like it, but I understand. And you have to put women in your position for them to understand because they're solipsistic creatures. Like a lot of girls think the world revolves around them, as terrible as that sounds to say, but they have to be that. It's actually naturally within them to be that way so that they can care for their children better. They have to worry about themselves over a man.
Mike, imagine a girl, right? Let's say that you might know, who you went to school with. She's never had a real man in her life up until now, right? You're 32, right? So 32 years on this earth, right?
I'm the real man in her life, the first real man.
First real man, right? So she dated all these simps, these loser guys, and it's like, damn, she was always the one leading that, dynamic. So now you're like, okay, cool. I'm here. What's good? And bottom line is, right, she's doing things that she's not aware of how you feel. It's like, oh, I'm used to doing this, but you're not going to tolerate that. So what happens is you say, yo, I'm not going to lie. I don't like that. And she may be like, why? She doesn't understand.
She's so used to.
Exactly. So it's scary, but it's also like, okay, if you care about her or you want to help her, you can try to teach her how to really act. But it's so many years of programming, bro. It's tough.
It's fucked. I've had that experience before where a girl had been in her previous relationships had literally just been with simps. And then she's with me. And then she's shocked by the dynamic of the relationship and how I behave. And I'm like, this is the way it's going to be. Like, I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, like, I'm not going to try and change you. I think it's better you just leave.
And then it's amazing. A lot of times they acquiesce to you by doing that.
Yes.
Because it's so rare for a man to stand on his principle and say, I'm not going to follow you. You follow me. And women naturally want to be followers, just that they'll test you sometimes. And it's just crazy, bro. It really is. And like, it's a lot of the times, like you might be the first guy, right, that actually has some semblance of masculinity. And they'll be like shocked and surprised by that because she'll go 25 years of never getting checked. And then you come in, boom, she's like, whoa, this guy tells me no. This is weird.
And they
imagine her
they
hearing
either
no.
hate it or they love it.
Yeah. And it's funny because you saying no in 30 years plus is like, damn, who is this guy? But then, you know what? Damn, he's worth it. I'm going to change or try to change. So
I like this quote which you put in the book. Most women want to get married and have children. Very few want to be wives and mothers.
Ooh.
Yeah. So fantastic.
It was Aaron Clary.
Aaron Clary.
Yeah.
Aaron Clary.
Shout out to him.
I quoted him, and he edited my book and helped me write it. Shout out to him. He's a great guy. So that comes from his book, and that's very true. And I got a funny story about this. We had a girl come on the show a couple weeks back, and she had been engaged to her guy, and she was like,
going to speed through
insist like, why long, blah, blah. Yeah, what does he
Mhm.
And I was like, that's, and I want to be a bridezilla. And that's when it hit me. Like, a lot of girls want to get married. They don't necessarily want to be wives, because it's a cool thing. It's like a thing to flex.
Just check it off.
It's a check. And then also like what I've also noticed, like and Instagram has like really highlighted this. Women like to compare their lives to other chicks. Like, oh, I got the most lit life. Look at all these experiences I have, blah, blah, blah. They won't show the guy that's paying for it, of course, right? Unless it's their boyfriend. But if they do have a boyfriend, they'll want to be able to have a boyfriend. Because here's the thing that people don't want to admit. When women meet each other, right? When men meet each other, you shake hands and say, what do you do for a living? Cool, you do that, I do this, etc. Men talk about things. When women meet, they hug and kiss. Oh, do you have a boyfriend? Are you in a relationship? Like, women don't lead with their careers a lot of times when they talk amongst each other, right? They might talk about it like, I do this and do that, but then they'll say, okay, do you have a boyfriend? And then that will be their predominant, figure in the conversation. But a girl understands that her value is derived from not her career, rather the caliber of man that she can attract. So if she's with a winner, she'll want to show that off. And girl, it's a constant flex to, look, I'm with this guy or I'm married to this guy. And that's why girls want to get married so bad a lot of times, because number one, they're able to brag about that security. They got a ring. They got some kind of commitment. Also, what caliber of man can you attract and retain in a marriage? And what kind of caliber of wedding can you throw? Because that says a lot about your status. And that's what this girl's chasing. She's not trying to necessarily be a wife. She wants to be able to flex. Look at how expensive my wedding was. Look at how cool it was. I'm married. Woo. Like, it's like a wedding is like a female orgasm, because the entire day is around her, and she's getting the ultimate validation of a marriage, and she's getting all the attention from everyone that she's known throughout her life.
Yeah. Ultimately, for a woman, her being married and posting everything on social media is the ultimate prize, because it's a competition. Imagine all the girls in school like, oh, well, I want to be a wife, I want to be this and that. The moment that they actually get a chance to be, and they can put it online, bro, ultimate validation from everybody. Because now, I have the best prize of all. I'm married. You're not. Crazy, bro.
I assume that marriage isn't on the priority.
Hell no. Yeah. So here's the thing. The nuclear family is the backbone of any stable society. I think it's needed. You need 2 parents, right? Children and a dog. But the thing is that in the West, the United States, the United Kingdom, pretty much any first world English speaking or westernized country, marriage is typically off the table because you involve the state. I'm all for guys getting married without the state involved. You want to get married Islamically in a mosque, in a church, in a synagogue. You just do it with you two, some close family. Hell, even if you want to have a wedding. But I don't want anyone signing paperwork where the government can now come in, because what happens is once the government's involved, that woman is now incentivized to leave you. Yeah. This is why 80% of divorces are initiated by women, because they have a huge incentive to do so, because they get...
Yo, big facts, guys. Marriage nowadays is not beneficial to most men in the context of it being seen by the government. Now, being with a woman is very beneficial with men. Women tend to help us live longer, support our dreams and our success. But when it comes to them initiating divorces 80% of the time, and then them being entitled to half our assets and half our resources that we've accumulated over the years, whether it's for the family or just for the relationship, that is kind of, not a good deal for most men. So that's why podcasts like this exist, so we can help men make better choices and essentially choose better women. And if you can learn from the mistakes of other men and apply that to your day-to-day and your relationship now. So, and what Myron said was, try to get married Islamically, which is not seen through the government, but instead just seen through the religion. You still have the whole wedding, you still have the whole tradition and the ceremony, but there is no document stating that she is, entitled to so and such. And even if you do want that, there's other ways to get around it, like there's prenubs and things like that. But essentially, you have to be careful when choosing the women you're in a relationship with.
get 90% of the
It's in
alimony.
their favorite.
Yeah, they get the house, they get the marital home, they get the children, everything, and they can use that against you. So my thing is, I tell guys, and she could leave at any time. You could walk into your house, she's sucking some dude's dick, and she could hand you divorce paperwork, and you can't do anything about it.
Yep.
So, and this might sound terrible to say it, but once again, the man always needs to have the leverage in the relationship. And the reason why I say the man needs to have the leverage in a relationship is because typically when men are in leadership roles and have leverage with their girl, they tend to act better than women do. When women have leverage, they can destroy your life. With a man, at least there's checks and balances. If the guy marries a girl, right, he's more than likely not going to divorce her. Men rarely initiate breakups and or divorces because if he loves that girl, even if he goes and has sex with another chick, his main girl is his main girl. It is what it is, right? And if anything, I've had it before where I've went and hooked up with some chick. I'm like, damn, this bimbo's useless. And I want to be with my main girl even more.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be like, God damn.
Yeah.
So if anything, like when a guy goes out and exercises options, it makes him appreciate what he has. When women go out and exercise options, it's a wrap. It's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Men and women are not the same when it comes to sex, which
Facts. What he's saying is that when men exercise options, we are, doing it from a more physical standpoint. We don't have the same emotional ties to that woman. But when women have sex, they can't have sex just your girlfriend or your woman that you're with shouldn't be able to just have sex just based off physicalities, right? Not most times she's cheating on you because you lacked something that this other man had. So, and for most part, that's like something emotional or, intelligence, just some other trait that's not physical that this guy had.
girls get mad at me about this all the time, but it's one of the few things that men get the benefit is, or the privilege that we get is being able to be promiscuous without judgment. But that privilege comes, we have to earn it. Men can't be promiscuous and be losers like girls can. A girl could wake up and literally be on a boat with Future the next day. She could be hanging out with Future with no future. You, on the other hand, as a man, right? You got to have your shit together and have a future to even be able to get a girl. You have to have some semblance of competence to get a woman. It's not the same way. So that's why male promiscuity is not, as disgusting, I guess, as female promiscuity, because for women, it's easy. For men, it's hard. People only respect what's difficult.
Mm-hmm. Do you think if there's going to be less marriages, which seems to be the trend moving forwards, do you think people are going to have less kids?
Yeah, we already know the birth rate is at its lowest, and we're already like below. I think you're supposed to have 2 kids per family. We're way below that in the West in general. Yeah. We have some of the lowest birth rates.
You think that's a problem?
Yeah, because whenever you have low birth rates, it can lead to economic collapse, because you're not going to have enough people coming into the workforce, right, to create economic stimuli.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all the Western world.
You're also not going to have enough creative ideas compared to as you having more people being born and more innovative ideas, people who are willing to test the boundaries on certain things. That is going to be lacking when you don't have enough people being born. So he's right about that.
World have really low birth rates historically.
Move towards that top 10%, that top 1%.
Yeah.
But when they reach that position, do you think they start to have some of the characteristics and traits of some of the women which you've described in the book?
Such as
they have so many options. They start treating women not as nice.
That's a good question.
They're discarding a lot of them. They're ghosting them. They're doing all like there was a full page where you were talking about all the bad things which women are doing to guys.
Yeah.
But if you then become that 1%, then it's really easy for you to start treating women like trash. So do you think there are some negative side effects of that?
That's definitely, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that, but I will tell you this. Oh, go ahead.
I think for a guy, right, if he knows the game, he knows the landscape, he's getting girls, he knows what's good and what's bad. If a girl's actually worth the value and she's actually who she says she is, she's loyal, trustworthy, and she's valuable to him as an asset, he's not gonna get rid of her and dump her. He's gonna keep her around. You know what? She deserves the title of wifey. However, for a girl, the guy might be good to her, treat her very nice, be there for her, but you're not my ideal guy, and just walk away. So I think for a guy, even in that scenario, it's different because he'll actually say, you know what, she's worth the value. I'm gonna keep her around. Versus a girl, you're good for now and then. I'm out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to add to his point, is that though that's a good point that you brought up. Like guys can be negative like that too.
I see what he's saying.
I've experienced it. My value's gone up.
Yeah,
I have, without a doubt. Like in the past, I've treated women pretty poorly.
Yeah,
and I think it's one of those things. I think what I've come to terms with is I just have to be more honest with women.
Yeah.
Not necessarily change my behavior. I could do if I wanted to, but I think if I just set things straight right at the beginning and say, this is how it is, then less women get hurt.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm real
because
big.
I don't want to create this environment where I'm treating women like trash.
Yeah.
And then if they get treated like trash, then they're going to start treating men like trash. And they're the reasons why they're thinking all men are dickheads, because they're just getting experience from all these top men who are treating them like
you
trash.
Asked a really good question. I'm going to tie everything together, what he said and what you said. So this is why I'm real big on guys being honest with girls. Now, most guys aren't, but I tell guys, yo, tell them I'm going to have multiple women. I'm not going to be monogamous, etc. Right? Like tell them so they can make the conscious decision to still mess with you or not. Right? Because at that point, then it's on them. You can't complain and cry about heartbreak if you know that I'm not going to be monogamous with you, right? That's number one, being honest. Number two, as far as like guys that are in the top 1% treating girls poorly, or guys that are in the top echelon treating women poorly, going back to what he said, as you date and deal with more women, you're going to be a very good judge and assessor of character when it comes to women. Because when you deal with bimbos, let's be honest here, we all know the typical girl, she'll come in and she'll be useless, whatever, you'll have sex with her, never take her seriously. But when a girl does come in and she adds value, it's kind of a novelty because most girls don't. So you'll be able to identify those girls really quickly, and then it's upon you to be able to decide if you want to elevate that girl or not. But my biggest thing is I'd rather the men have the power versus the women, because at least I know when the man has the power, he earned the right and the ability and the privilege to have that power. Women, when they get that power, they never earned it. They were born with it.
Do you say in the book that women don't deserve preferential treatment, but in what circumstances do they?
If
Would
they
you
add
say
value
if
to
they're
your
adding
life,
value?
yeah. If they add value to your life and they're an asset versus a liability, then that's when you elevate that girl and she gets certain perks and privileges. Like right now, right? I have a girl with me right now here in Dubai, and I brought her with me. I brought her with me, but she's fantastic. She makes life easier. She's, helping us with our logistics of everything, the travel of, hey, you behave a certain way, like I'm real big on reciprocation. I'm not saying treat women poorly, but you got to be able to identify the girls that do deserve it versus the girls that don't. And my argument is that most girls simply don't deserve it.
But I guarantee you, Mike, back then when you were doing, your stuff, whatever, if you met a girl that was irreplaceable, like she was making coffee in the morning, helping you with your videos, helping your camera work, it's like, you know what? Damn, I'm having fun, but shorty's like different. You would say, you know what? I'm gonna keep her around. Versus a girl's like, I could find Jerry down the street. Tom is cool, but like I'm getting flown out to Dubai.
Men don't punish.
Yeah.
Women punish nice guys.
Yeah.
Men don't punish nice girls.
Yeah.
To the same degree that women punish nice guys. Because when a woman comes in and she's nice and she's feminine and docile and like really friendly and good to be around and gives you that type of energy, men really appreciate that because they don't get it often. Right? But women, on the other hand, get it all the time, so they resent it. So women punish nice guys. So that's why you can't be a nice guy. But as a girl, when she comes in and she's like a good woman and she's nice and everything like that, men tend to appreciate that a lot more. And since guys are way easier to please, right? If a girl comes in and she does a few of the things I mentioned, she's going to be heads and shoulders above most women. She's going to be able to stand out. And then the guy, a lot of times, will elevate her or at least keep her around so that she can continue to prove herself, so that when he is ready to settle down, this is going to be the main.
Have you ever ended a relationship and regretted it, thinking like, oh shit, she was a real one? Because I've had an experience with, there's a couple, I look back and I think, damn, it would be nice to see an alternate universe and seeing how my life would have turned out.
Yeah.
Because she was like so loyal, like 100% supportive, and just added so much value to my life. And I think,
get her back, bro.
Get through this.
No, but I'm with a couple of them who are doing the same thing.
Oh,
That's
okay,
the problem.
yeah.
Like it's weird to think like, what if?
Yeah.
Have you ever had that?
I've never had a what if, because every time I cut it with a girl, I'm just like, no, I'm good. Like basically, I look at it from a logical standpoint. Is this girl adding more value than she's causing damage? And if the answer is she's being more of a liability now, even if she had a value in the past, I get rid of her, regardless of like how I felt.
What about you?
I've had a couple what ifs, but my thing is like, I understood me breaking it off that yes, it may have been a great setup with me and her, but ultimately I'm not happy in this moment. And for my career, my business, if I'm not happy in the moment, then the point of me staying to maybe figure it out isn't worth the cause. So my thing is like, yes, it may happen where so you know what, damn, she's valuable, she's amazing, but at some point you gotta say, yo, I'm on a mission here. if she in any way is going to cause me to falter, I can't be here anymore. I got to move on. Because guess what? When I move on, the other girls now they may not be her, but they'll do just the same.
Well, you should be leveling up, and it should be the case that you are upgrading each time. If not, then you need to reset.
He said something really interesting. He said, "I'm not happy right now," and I think the phrase "happy wife, happy life" is the biggest bullshit ever.
Facts.
It needs to go. Happy man, happy land, right? Because the reality is that as a man, if you're happy and fulfilled, I promise you, your girl's going to be happy and fulfilled too. Because as a leader, right? If you're striving, you're chasing excellence, you're getting things done. The woman is always going to benefit because she's your girl. Men are okay with sharing their resources. So if a man is really winning in life, his girl's going to derive the fruits of that labor. But when a woman is happy, right? And as human beings, we're designed to constantly be chasing more and more to some degree, assuming we're not lazy and too content. But with women, right? It's very difficult to please them. So for her to get pleased, she needs to know that she's pleasing you. Women get the most fulfillment and joy when they're serving a man that they love, admire, and respect. They can't get it from a career to the same degree that they get it from the validation of a family and a husband, right? And they've done studies on this that prove that women overwhelmingly choose family and children versus a career. They did a study in this with Ireland where after COVID, everyone went back to the workforce. Like I think something like 60% of the women plus were like, no, I want to stay. I don't want to go back to work. I'm just going to stay here with my family because they've been working from home all that time and they just preferred to be with loved ones. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I don't demonize women that stay at home. I think that's the best way to raise a child. Fuck a daycare, raise the kid yourself. You created it. But the reality is that when the man is happy, the woman is going to get that happiness as well because he's doing what he needs to do. He's fulfilling the duties of the household, and then she in turn wins. But when it's the other way around, where he's prioritizing her happiness, well, guess what? You just pedestalized her inadvertently without her knowing it. And then now she has no choice but to sit there and be like, man, this dude's like bending over backwards to impress me. Man, fuck that shit. Now, are there some girls out there that could appreciate that? For sure. Maybe 100 years ago when chivalry was a thing. But in today's day and age where women and men are seen as equal to a lot of modern day women, that's the worst thing you can do.
I like what you said in the book.
Know the ad, guys.
Or happiness on something fleeting and largely out of your control.
Yeah, because women are emotional creatures. So their emotions are changing by the minute, by the hour, by the day. So you need to pin your happiness on something that you can control, which is what your success, your destiny, and then the woman's a byproduct. That's why I'm so big on telling guys, you need to be happy. She's going to be happy from serving you. But if you serve her, she's in the authority position and you're chasing her validation. When you're chasing a woman's validation, it's not the same. Girls, right? A woman's mating strategy, shout out to Rolls Mouse, he talks about this extensively in The Rational Male. A woman's mating strategy is it's called hypergamy, which is chasing the best guy that she can, right? Getting the best guy that she can. It's constantly trying to upgrade, get the best deal. But that mating strategy is based in doubt. So since it's based in doubt, you need to eliminate that doubt by being the best man that she can get. And the only way for her to 100% feel that she's getting the best deal is that she's constantly chasing your validation. If she's chasing your validation, she don't got time to show her ass on Instagram. She don't got time for ladies' nights out. She don't got time for all this other BS that a lot of girls end up doing because they know that they got their guy locked in and secured. She needs to be chasing you and not know where she stands. When that's going on, that's when she's the happiest, not when it's the other way around. That's why I tell guys all the time, the girl needs to like you more than you like her. And the only way that happens is you're striving, you're being excellent, she's following your lead, you're happy. And then on top of that, you can replace her anytime. And I know it sounds evil for me to say it that way, but that's how you get the best out of women. Since the beginning of time, women have always been attracted to men that have social proof, that have other women, that have a strong circle of friends, etc. And that's the only way she's going to feel happy. Her hypergamy is satisfied because she's chasing you, so the doubt is gone, and she knows that she can be replaced. That's how you get a loyal and dutiful girlfriend.
I think it's important as well. You need to, regardless of if you're male or female, you need to be happy single. Like you can't put your happiness into a relationship or another person because then you're constantly a slave to that relationship and thinking, well, I'm only going to be happy if I'm with this person. Like I experienced that when I was 21. I remember I thought, oh, well, I'm at my happiest when I'm with this person. And if I'm not with this person, then I'm not going to be happy. And then I tried to make the relationship is pretty much dead. I just dragged it on thinking that this was the only way that I could be happy.
But here's the scary part. With girls, women are far more people oriented. Like women derive their pleasure the most from being social. That's why they're socially superior to men. Like a girl could walk in a room and size up everyone and figure out the relationships immediately, right? Versus a guy, it's like a learn skill for us. We don't figure it out, right? Assuming we study game and pick up and all this other stuff. It takes us a decade plus to learn it. A girl that's 18 knows right away. Oh yeah, this girl's not smashing him. He's in friends. Blah blah blah. We got to learn this stuff. For them, it's natural. So for girls, they derive more of their pleasure from being in social situations and having a man. Every girl, whether she wants to admit it or not, wants to be in a relationship with a guy. No girl wants to be single. I think men need to learn how to be single, for sure. Women should too, but a lot of their natural happiness state comes from being around other people, and a lot of times for them, that comes at the end of a family and children and a husband. But men need to learn how to be independent 100%.
Yeah. I think you mentioned the majority of your 20s, you weren't really chasing girls, you were focusing on your work.
I was working for Homeland Security, doing criminal investigations. I was really pursuing that, going really hard. Mexican cartel cases, wiretaps, big, conspiracy cases. And then when I moved to Miami, that's when I started getting back into the scene with women more. So most of I was 28, 29 at that point.
So most men during that period of time, or the majority of the time, but at least in the 20s, they should be focusing on themselves, right? But the problem with a lot of guys at this age is that they will have desires and they're probably the horniest they're ever going to be.
Yeah.
So how does a guy ignore that desire?
So you don't have to ignore it, but I get what you're saying here. So for example, here's what you can do, right? This is what I did. For the first year and a half when I came to America, what I did was I worked my ass off. I worked 2 jobs, day and night, and I would just take breaks to eat, go to sleep, right? However, in my free time, let's say a day off or maybe after work, I would actively go to Tinder, Bumble, whatever, try to get a date. And I'll go for experiences and go on dates. So the free time I had after worked on myself.
So you allocated it.
Yes. But I didn't focus on it. So it's only an after effect. So I did my work first. When I was free, I had nothing else going on. Then I'll put towards, I'll go on a date or 2. That allowed me to focus on my purpose, my passion. And over time, what happened is I got further ahead in life. the further I got ahead in life, the higher value girls I got to get. So putting that first, and then saying, you know what, all right, I got free time right here, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, I'll go on a date, I'll set it up. And that kept me in the game, in the know, but I was focused on my purpose as well. Because if you neglect girls, bro, all the way, you get money and status, it's like, you don't know how to handle them.
You don't need to do any work when you get to that point where you got status.
True. I mean, you still need to, because you need to understand how women operate, but it's more like you're going to be on 2 levels, successful, but still understand female nature.
And you could get finesse. I was
Yo, facts. You need to have your you know, your career, your goals, your job, whatever it is that you're working 40 hours, putting in that time in, and then you need to be pursuing your passions for another 20 hours, I would say, throughout the week. And then whatever free time you have left over, you can use that for dating, talking to women, you know. So you're not out there just being a hermit, you know, who's just focused on success. You're still building yourself up and building up your game, your charisma, the way you approach with women. And, you know, you're not lacking on those skills either, because that's going to be important when you do reach that level of success.
would say, so when I was working, this is my ratio, and I don't know if guys can do this, but it's up to them if they want. What I did was, because I lived in Laredo, Texas, which is on the Mexican border, right? So there was nothing out there. It's like Breaking Bad out in the desert, right? So once a year in August, typically, I would go back home to Connecticut. You know, and I'm from New Britain, Connecticut originally, and a lot of my friends were in the Boston area and New York, and Connecticut is smack dab in between those two states. Well, Massachusetts and New York. So I would go visit friends, etc. I'd take like a month vacation, right? A month of leave when I was working for the government. I'd hang out, I'd go party with my friends, blah, blah. I'd take that month, and then I'd like go back in September and then right back to work, right? So I take like 3 weeks to 4 weeks off, and I did this once a year, and I did that for several years while I was living in South Texas. But you know, a lot of guys might not be able to do that. So I would say come up with some kind of ratio. Maybe you grind 8 weeks straight and you take 1 weekend out, or maybe you grind 6 weeks straight, take 1 weekend out, and go out with girls, or you know, you do it in your free time where you're on dating apps, scanning, etc. And it's gonna suck. You might go through dry periods, might have to fap a little bit every now and then, right, to alleviate that stress or whatever, right? But see, that's where you get in the touchy spot.
You don't want to get addicted to porn.
You got to be able to, you know, control that. But I'm not saying don't go out and get girls. Like, you should definitely learn game and go out and deal with women. My thing is, a lot
Facts. Don't get addicted to porn, guys.
of guys overdo it and they spend all their time chasing after girls. And that's like, when you do that, what ends up happening is you end up having to chase girls because you haven't built your value up yet to a point where you're attractive enough to get girls to be interested in you. Of course, you have to get out there and talk to women and put yourself out there, but you want to do the work up front so that you don't have to put as much work in when you deal with them.
You mentioned there's a part of the book when you were talking about men moving into their own place. And if their main motivation to get their own place in their own apartment is purely just so they can get girls and get laid in peace, you're saying that's terrible. It's an absolute waste of money. So in your opinion, when is it the right time for a guy, maybe early 20s, wherever it might be, to actually go off and get their own place?
I would say once you actually make some money, and it depends what your goals are, right? So if you're trying to buy real estate or whatever, you might want to live with your folks for a little bit longer so that you can go ahead and save up the capital to get a real estate property or get an FHA loan. My thing is, I don't want guys spending too much money out of pocket early in their 20s where they're going broke to pay their rent just so they can fuck girls. Like, that's stupid, you know? If you really need to, go ahead and get an Airbnb or get a hotel for a weekend or whatever it may be, but like, you should really be building and learning a skill set, making more money, etc. Now, for me personally, I was able to get out of my parents' house at about 23, and I was working for the government, and I was able to land a good job out of there. So I had enough money to get an apartment and, you know, and everything like that. But I just don't want guys spending a ridiculous amount of their money on an apartment when they don't have the money. Because a lot of guys, they'll go broke to have an apartment to try to have sex with girls, and it's like, bro, why?
Here's another thing you can do as well. Have a roommate that you trust, you're cool with, and obviously have separate bedrooms, but like, it's more like that roommate lowers the cost of you actually having to pay rent, and you still live in a nice area. And, you know, with some game, proper attire, proper cleanliness, still come over, clean your spot, still have fun, but you're paying half the money.
You should be able to pay rent 4 times.
Yeah.
4 to 5 times. And I would say, okay, once you can pay that rent 4 to 5 times, cool, move out.
You should get a housemate who's actually switched on as well. There's not
Exactly.
a
You can. You got to have someone like,
Didn't Sterling Cooper and Justin Waller, did they used to live together?
yeah.
So that would have been pretty fucking amazing.
And they're both really, and here's the thing. Shout out to Justin,
Yeah,
good friends of ours.
yeah.
Here's the thing. They got money, both of them,
Yeah.
like millionaires, right?
They
But
got
they live
game as
together.
well.
Yeah, but exactly. So they both understand women. But the reason why they live together, right? Iron sharpens iron. And I do think that it's good to live with guys that are like-minded, that are sharp, that can push you to become better, right? Because for them, it's like they have like this nice penthouse in Miami. You know, it's different. It's not like they're having roommates together because like, oh my God, we got to cut on bills. Like, no, they're both millionaires. They both do really well. But that's an example of living together because iron sharpens iron. Andrew and Tristan, same situation, live together because having strong masculine men in your circle, right, will help you become a better man overall, because you're constantly competing with each other. You need other masculine men around you to keep you sharp. However, and this is why I'm so big on guys not moving in with their girlfriend, right? If you move in with, don't move in with your girlfriend. When you move in with your girlfriend, she's going to soften you up because, like I said before,
everyone gets fat.
Yeah, you get fat. And like I said in the book, women are lazy. People get mad. Oh my God, that's so misogynistic. No, it's realistic. Women are naturally lazy creatures. And the reason why is because they don't have a proclivity to create resources in excess. They have a proclivity to create children and do the best by those children. They're very different in what they prioritize with their energy. Men are to go out and create resources, women to create children and take care of those children. That's not to say what men do is better than what women do. We need each other in unison. But what I am saying is that when it comes to working hard and being productive, women have a different mindset with that. So living with a girl is counterproductive to you. And then on top of that, right, you're living with her the mystery is gone. She knows what you do all the time. She sees where you're at. That's when women start to get comfortable when you live with them, because they know that you can't replace them a lot of times. She's your only source of sex. A lot of times when guys move in with their girl, they think, I'm going to save money, I'm going to get laid more. It actually goes down. You get laid less because she knows where you're at all the time, and her mind, right, isn't racing or guessing. I've always said a man's best tool to defeat hypergamy is imagination. I'm not saying you got to go out and fuck another girl, but if she thinks you are, or that you're capable of doing it, that's going to keep her on her toes, and she's going to stay more attracted to you. But so living with a girl, you lose a lot of the leverage that you have. And quite frankly, men don't have much leverage when it comes to relationships and dealing with women. So you have to play every single one of your cards to the best of your ability. Living with a girl hurts you as a man.
Yeah, I've been living alone for the past, I think, since I was 26.
Nice.
And I don't think I could change it.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, though, because at some point I want kids. Now, what am I going to do in that situation? Because I'm hoping I get to the point where I've got numerous properties and I can have I either have a very big one where I've got my own little space, or like every now and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to my apartment.
Yeah. I think the best
have
way,
the distance every now and then.
Yeah, I think the optimal way to do that, and Andrew and Tristan kind of do this, is where you put the wife and the kids right in a home, and you come in and out, and you have them close by, you provide, you take care of them, etc. And let's be honest here, Dad, what's your job? You really need to come in the baby years, right, in the formative years. That's not that big. That's the woman's job. She's more nurturing, etc. The man's job is to come in as the reinforcement of how the world really works in their teenage years, when they're most susceptible to drug use, doing stupid stuff, not going to school, etc. So you don't necessarily, as a disciplinarian, you don't need to be there every single day, right? I think going out there, chasing your mission, creating resources, etc. The mom can be there most of the time, and then you come in when needed. And if you're close by, you're always a call away. But I think number one, to keep the attraction there, to maintain some semblance of a nuclear family, you don't need to be there every day and sleep there. You can show up every day and not sleep there. I think that's the way to do it, to get around it. It's just that, and it's sad that we have to come up with all these counter strategies, right, for the modern day woman. But I think that's one way to combat it, or just being with a girl that is more traditional in a sense where that might not necessarily hurt you to the same degree, right? You can get a girl in Colombia or something like that, maybe, right, where they might appreciate that a little bit more. Whereas like in the United States, that might not be as feasible. So there's different ways. It depends on the girl. Every girl's different, but I think that's a strategy where you can have.
Yeah, that's going to be tough, honestly. You're just talking about two different living situations, where you're not even sleeping with this woman that you're with, and she has your kids with you. It might be tough, brother. But I understand what you're saying. When you do live with the women, you kind of lose your edge. Most men actually get lazier, and you lose that sense of mystery, which essentially leads her to be more attracted to you. But you do need to find a balance as a man, whether it's, having another apartment outside your home, or creating a separate area just for yourself that works too. Man caves are a real thing, but I think the main thing is to not be too available. Essentially, don't make yourself too readily available, because then you do lose a sense of who you are. She'll be able to predict you better. And you want to have a constant sense of mystery. You want to be mysterious to a certain degree. And, you want to have her, on her toes a little bit, Okay. Let's get back into it. We're almost done here.
Have an apartment not too far away, and your girl is there. I'm going to have it by having multiple wives. That's my strategy.
Are you Muslim?
Yeah.
So you can do that.
Yeah, 4 wives. And I will admit, for full disclaimer, I'm not the best Muslim, but I am working on it. I'm going to get my Arabic up and everything like that. But definitely,
what is it you need to work on?
Man. Well, I don't really drink like that, so that's one thing. I've never done a drug in my life. It's really dealing with women is like the only thing that I'd be doing that's like haram. Like I don't even eat pork or wear gold or anything like that. And I need to pray. You start praying 5 times a day. Yeah. So if I get those things in check, I'll be good. I'll be a bookman.
Do you do Ramadan?
Yeah, I haven't fasted recently, but I definitely do fast as well. Yeah, during Ramadan.
Do you think it'd be easier to follow those practices being in the Middle Eastern country?
Yeah, it definitely would be. It definitely would be, and that's what because I've been thinking to myself, like, when I do want to have a family and children, what am I going to do? I'm going to 100% have to move to, a place like this, or a Kuwait, or a Qatar, or Saudi Arabia, or something like that, where I can raise a family, because Dubai is very safe, and I like that. Raise a family without like the degeneracy of the West, you know what I mean? And here, like, nuclear families are still respected. Men are respected here. The men are the leaders of society, and it's just how it should be. You know what I mean? It's oh my goodness, the patriarchy. Patriarchies work. That's why we have the civilized world we have. No patriarchies stood the test of time. There's nothing wrong with patriarchies. Men lead, women follow. So I think that would be most optimal. So I think having multiple wives, right? Number one, keep everything in check, and then also satisfy me, and then be able to have more children.
What about you?
I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, to be honest with you. But I will say, eventually, I do want to find someone that I can share life with, experiences. But once again, I'm going to have my own spot. She's going to have her spot with the kids. And I think that's the best way to be, just so you have the space, because space gives you the opportunity to like miss somebody, but at the same time, leaves mystery. You also need mystery no matter what.
Yeah, girls really need it.
Yeah.
Men not so much. Like for us, it's like, okay, I know where my girl's at. Awesome. Like men don't lose attraction for knowing what their girls up to. Yeah. Women, however, do lose attraction. So that's why guys have to play like that. What about you? What's your strategy going to be? I know you want to have a family. Are you going to have multiple chicks, or?
Well, if that's going to be the case, I'm going to have to find women who are going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest, fully honest.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because
I think if your value's high enough, a lot of girls will accept it.
Yeah. it's just so funny because I'm thinking about everybody else in my family.
Yeah.
They've all gone down a completely different route.
Yeah.
All my cousins, my brother's getting married in 2 months. Everybody else is married. And I'm just like, wow, let's just.
Have you talked to him like, don't do it?
He's too far gone, I think. I mean, he's been with her since university, so they've been together like 8-9 years.
Damn, wow.
So it's annoying actually. I spoke to Tristan about this when I was on the podcast with him.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Like I kind of wish that I'd spent more time with him, or he'd been with me, because I think I could have taken him down a different path.
Mm-hmm. He's younger than you?
2 years below.
Okay, so
but I mean, he's happy. They're both happy together. Like, I don't want to be the person that changes that.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a different life he could have had.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's about that life, to be honest.
Nothing wrong
I
with
think
marriage. Just a state, man. And I'm assuming he's probably doing this in the UK.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, God.
But I think he's not like me. Like, I like the sense of adventure, taking risk, and he's very kind of risk averse, and he's quite happy with stability.
Yeah.
And I think maybe he's
marriage is risky though.
Yeah, it's not stable. It should leave anytime.
State.
Yeah,
involved.
but, yeah. I mean, I don't know what's gonna
He's
happen.
happy right now. I'm telling you right now. If things don't go how she wants things to go, and she leaves his ass, bro.
That's why women love marriage so much, is because it's like a security blanket for them. Like, and it literally, because I ask the question on the pod all the time. Name one benefit that men get from marriage, right? And girls really can't. Like, name anything. Like, there's no benefit to getting that there's no benefit to marriage that you can't get like in a regular relationship, like non-marriage involved.
Get a home and kids.
Say, tax breaks. Okay, those tax breaks go out the window if you divorce me. Like, save $1,000, $2,000 a year on taxes. Okay, you're gonna get more than that in alimony and child support.
Well, yeah, you see a lot of these high-profile celebrities get divorced. What's the how much did he lose?
Oh man,
800 million.
I think he's got to pay her like $1 million a month or something wild like that.
Yeah.
Like something crazy a month. They just started. I forget what the numbers were, but she spent some ridiculous amount of money. Like, when they actually like itemized it, it's like $100,000 on clothes, like $50,000 on like kids. Like, it's something ridiculous.
Wow.
You mentioned the book, the Tom Brady Gamble. What's that?
So the Tom Brady gamble is basically where the guy, right, becomes the top tier dude like a Tom Brady, but you can still lose your girl like you did with Giselle. And like, if you look at Tom Brady, right, from on paper, he's like the optimal guy, like multiple Super Bowls, Chad, famous, they got the status, the looks, everything, right? He got Giselle and he still couldn't even keep her. So what I tell guys is,
did she walk away from that?
I think she initiated the divorce. Yeah. And I think a big part of that too is that he's not red pill aware. Like, if a dude is RPO aware and has a status, like, he'll keep his girl in check. But clearly, he probably was simping on some stuff, supplicating to her, etc. Because the reason why she left him is like, oh, he works too much, or he wants to continue playing and whatever. It's like, yeah, bitch, like, this is how you met me. I was a winner when you met me. This is how it goes. But the thing is that he probably lost frame or whatever. Because typically when a girl leaves you like that and you're that level of guy, you did something where she lost respect for you or you lost frame. But I talk about how even as becoming a top tier guy, you can still lose the girl. And I want guys to understand that just because you become successful and you become this guy, it's not a guarantee, because women are fleeting and emotional creatures, which means they change their moods with, they always say the phrase, it's not your turn. She's not yours, just your turn. I think if guys like really internalize that and accept it and understand, I'm going to become the best guy for me, and then a woman's a byproduct, they'll be able to go through life a little bit better. Because a lot of times when guys, do terrible things to them, whether it's self-deletion or whatever it may be, it typically comes from a girl because they didn't have the answers. They didn't know why she left them or the breakup. But when guys understand why things happened, they're able to accept it to a degree and then move on. But when they don't get that closure and the why, that's when the self-deletions happen. Because human beings, especially men, if you think about it, there's always been this conquest for knowledge. Like, every modern convenience that we have here was created by a man that was curious, that wanted to figure it out and create an invention. But when men don't figure it out, right, a lot of times it drives them mad. And sometimes the end of the madness is a noose or a knife or a gun or whatever. Maybe we're on YouTube. I don't want to go too deep, but you know what I'm saying with the self-deletions. So sometimes being able to pick up my book or The Rational Male or whatever, and you explain to them, this is how it makes, like, this is how it really is. The Disney fairy tales are not real. Then they're like, oh, that's why she left me. They get that closure and they're able to move on with life versus ending their life.
I think it's mad. There's so many people who, and I've had guy friends do this. They've been pretty young and they've said to themselves, yeah, I'm going to marry this girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I don't think that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
But they are adamant that it's the right thing to do. And 99% of the time it ends up being a terrible decision. And I think a lot of
old order thinking.
A lot of guys don't understand that what you're feeling right now
is a feeling.
It's not going to last. When that feeling goes, are you going to want to be with this person for the rest of your life?
And it's a very, very feminine characteristic to do that, because they're looking at how they feel right now and making a permanent decision based on a temporary feeling. And
do you know why I think a lot of guys do that? It's because they probably think they've been lucky and their value is actually higher than theirs, so they feel insecure and think, oh shit, she might, like, I'm punching here, maybe she might go and get with somebody else, so I'm going to try and tie it down.
Good point. No, and that's a fantastic point. That comes to the scarcity mindset, right? So many guys have a scarcity mindset when it comes to girls. It's like, oh my god, I got a girl, she took my dick, oh my god, I need to wife her up immediately. And what guys don't understand is that when you look at a girl, right, she's 18, 19, 20, 21, ask them, do you want to get married? A lot of them will say no. Why? Well, because they have an abundance mindset, because they got guys inviting them to boats, they got guys willing to fly them to Dubai, they got guys that want to take them to New York City, whatever. So they're like, wow, the world is my oyster. I don't want to settle down. My value is really high right now, right? If you take any average like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old, I want to chase a career, whatever, right? But guys, on the other hand, their value is low. So they're like, yo, I need to consolidate and get a girl right now, because they have a scarcity mindset. So I want guys to have an abundance mindset, because when you have an abundance mindset, you're able to better detect a girl that is worthy of a relationship versus a girl that isn't. But when guys are in a scarcity mindset, they're thinking with this head versus this head, well, they start to make really bad decisions. And you see that, with the divorce court, etc. I mean, the military guys are chronically make this mistake. Well, they'll get married at 18 years old to give their girl the benefits, and she ends up leaving him anyway when he's deployed.
Sad.
So guys, I have a rule. This might be controversial. I talked about this on Mo Vlogs and they didn't like it too much, but I think a guy needs to be 35 years old, had sex with 50 girls, making 6 figures a year, have 6 months to 1 year savings, and go to the gym actively. And when you have those 5 things in place, you're going to be head and shoulders above most men, and you'll be in a position where a good amount of women will respect you, right? Your accomplishments. And when you're competent, you get accomplishments, and then that leads to confidence. And when you get that, bam, girls can read that because that confidence is genuine, not, artificial. And then you'll be able to command that respect from the girl and be able to get in a relationship where you're the leader, she follows your lead. And you're going to have some semblance of female nature because you've had sex with 50 girls. Now, normally, right, I know this sounds terrible to say it like that, but the reality is that as a man, having less sexual experience will come back and hurt you because women nowadays are more promiscuous than ever before. So if your girl has more sexual experience than you, that's a problem because she's going to use that against you. And what most girls do, this is girl game in a nutshell. Leverage sex for compliance. That's what girls do to guys 99% of the time. Take me on a date. Oh, I only do that if we're in a relationship, blah, blah, blah. Girls always leverage their sexuality for compliance for men. As a man, your job is to be like, okay, sex can't control me because I've hooked up with other girls. I know what this game is. I know what a good girl is versus a bad girl. You can't play this game with me. And it's amazing how when girls know that they can't leverage sex against you, they start to comply. But when they can leverage it against you, that's when the disrespect happens.
Yeah.
So my thing is when you have your money on point, you're a little bit older and wiser, 35 years old, you've been around the block, you had sex with 50 girls bare minimum, you understand female nature to a degree where now you can come into a relationship, get with a girl that's younger than you, that's more impressionable, you can coach her, make her the best girl, and then bam, have a healthy relationship.
So you guys are here for another couple of days in Dubai. What's the plan when you go back to?
All right. We are going to end that there. Great episode with Fresh and Fit and Mike Thurston there. I'm going to put the link to the original episode in this video below. But I think some main points to take away from that was you need to become the best version of yourself so that you don't tolerate any disrespect or any qualities that you don't like out of the women that you are dating. See yourself as a company and see yourself as someone worthy for her attention. She needs to work for your attention the same way you worked to become the man who you are today. So thanks for watching the podcast, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the video, and subscribe to the channel. Sorry. We are out of here.